Hey guys, it's Steve Zelenardi here with Trevisa Realty and Gonzalo from Spark Financial. We're going to talk about the second segment. This is based on Americans buying into Florida from, let's say, out of state that want to get into properties in the area. This is all based on today's rates and how we approach this to kind of give people better options going forward, especially our buyers coming in. So you were talking about something very interesting, and current interest rates, we know where they are, that they're obviously abnormally high. But there's an interesting
The buy down.
the buy down. You get a piece. Yeah, that's a program that you guys. Is that a program you guys specifically have, or is that just?
There's a program that a bunch of lenders are trying to use, and essentially it's called the buy down. So there are different options. You could do the 3-2-1, a 2-1, or a 1-1. So now that the market's kind of moving slower than it was prior, 2 years ago when Corona hit, everything was going crazy. Now you actually have the accessibility to reach out to the seller. Let's say a house been on the market for 60 plus days, 90 days. Obviously the price isn't right at that point.
Sure.
So, an idea is to call the seller or the listing agent and you say, hey, I'd like to buy this house. Let's say the purchase price is 400. You make it 410. So that extra $10,000, you put that into a seller paid comp that essentially gives you the money to buy down your rate for 3 years, 2 years, or 1 year. Obviously the 1 and 2 are cheaper, but let's say the 3 year, let's say the starting rate, we'll say 7.5. You're going down to a 4.5% on the first
So it
year.
drops 3%.
Drops 3% in 1 year. The second year it goes up to 5.5. The third year it goes to 6.5, and the last year until the 30th year goes to that 7.5, the original rate that you would get anywhere else. That being said, a lot of people are using the mentality that once that second or third year hits, we're obviously going to see, in my opinion, everyone's talking about it, interest rates should go down. How much higher can they go?
Yeah, fair enough.
So people are going to refinance out of that, and during those 2-3 years, you're saving a bunch of money, all just for a little comp that the seller gave you on the house you bought. So
And then regarding let's just say that on the third or fourth year the rates come down. Let's say that everything's come down to like a 5%. So what breaking the mortgage is that going to cost you? Is there penalties involved?
no prepayment penalty.
Okay.
No, never.
Is it just like a $500 admin fee or something like that?
No, that's it.
That's
it. You literally when you buy a house here in Florida, if it's a conventional loan or FHA, well, FHA is different, but conventional loans you could sell the next day. You can refi the next day. You can
And
do
there's no
whatever you want.
penalty.
There's no penalty.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's a good option. Is there any other options? I know there's arms and stuff. Is that something you guys deal with too?
There are arms. In my opinion, the rates, they're not that much more favorable. Just because, instead of the 7.5, you might be looking at a 3 or 5 year arm that's at a 6.5. But if you can use this buy down with the seller's credit, it's literally the seller giving you that extra 10,000 or whatever the number may be. Obviously, the higher the purchase price, the more the buy down is going to cost. But I'm just giving you a rough example. That's the one you essentially it's almost an arm in itself, that adjusts every year.
Yeah.
And by the third year, like I said, you just refi out. But the arm products, they're not very favorable right now, and there's really no point to it.
You just do again, this is my mortgage literacy. So how does that work then? So you're buying it down. So how does that work? So let's just say it's $10,000. So how does that get you 3 points off the first year?
So
is it just paid towards the interest?
Exactly. Just like everything else, the commissions, everyone's paid through the interest rate. Unfortunately or fortunately, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So that money, you could today get a 30-year fixed rate at 5% if you want, but you're gonna pay the piper.
What's the piper cost?
Yeah,
on $500,000. What's the piper?
You're gonna pay probably 30K.
So you pay 30K up front on a $500,000 mortgage, and it takes it down 3 points.
Yeah, that's just an example.
Not bad, actually.
No, I mean, but that's how you have to look at the finance side of it, because in 3 years you're like, why did I do that?
Oh, I
Because
see.
maybe the interest rates go down again, and you're
Fair
like, I
enough.
should have just refied. And instead of spending, for example, 30K just at once for 5%. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, ultimately, even if you paid that money up front, it's going to off the 30-year. Mind you, if you're going to break the mortgage in 3 years because it's down,
Exactly.
does it even make sense?
Yeah.
So what do you do in a situation like that? You just top it up a bit to bring it down. Like what's a good
What do you?
like you're saying like to buy down the rate? Like how many years do you want to buy down? Just a 3?
Uh, I recommend doing the 3 if the seller can actually like credit you that amount.
Some money, yeah.
But the 2 is definitely also favorable, and I would say it's half the price.
So what was the principal amount?
So the principal amount, the purchase price was 500. The principal was 400. So they were putting 20% down, and the 3-2-1 buy down, the seller had to credit roughly $16,000. So it sounds a little crazy, but you do have sellers that are eager to sell their house, and some people are desperate. So they'll be like, you know what, here's a credit for 16K, and you buy down the rate.
Yeah.
Um,
But you know what? To be honest, look, if you have a house in the market currently right now, it's like price adjustment. So if you're gonna come, you can do a price adjustment for $20,000. So seller has a house listed at 520 or whatever, and he's like, okay, well, I can do the deal at 500, give 20 back. It's like doing a price reduction.
exactly.
So it's not like you're really taking away from the seller. It's like you're gonna have to reduce the price anyway at some point. So you might as well get this deal tied up now. Yeah,
You brought a good point. There's people right now today they're doing a lot of price reductions.
yeah, for sure.
And perfect example, you could call them up. You could say, "Hey, I saw your house was previously listed for 20K more. Let's make this happen. I'd like to do this buy down."
Yeah.
And you could sell your house tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like doing one more price adjustment, but
Exactly.
you got a secured buyer and you're going towards smooth sailing.
Yeah.
You're close to
Everything's
locking up.
negotiable.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. I think we should end that segment there. I think that's a lot of good points. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Again, give us a call. We'll definitely set you up with Gonzalo and Spark Financial here in Florida, and we'll get you guys financed. Have a good one.